to the May edition of Ukrainian Magazine. Tonight, Tamara Denisenko and myself, Bill Cornello, welcome you to another fine evening of Ukrainian American broadcasting.
Добрий вечір і вітаємо вас до українського журналу. Найперше ми щиро вітаємо всіх матерів і все жіноцтво із Днем Матері, яке відзначується кожної другої неділі щороку. Бажаємо всім жінкам, всім мамам багато щастя, доброго здоров'я і задоволення у вашому житті.
This evening's Ukrainian Magazine will bring you a special on the Yevshan Folk Dancing Ensemble, a local Ukrainian folk dancing group here in Rochester, New York. We also would like to feature some Ukrainian art and crafts by a local artist. We have an exclusive interview with Mrs. Tverdokhlib. We also have a segment on a Ukrainian library that many of you probably are not aware of, and we'll show you some of that later on. And also...
На сьогоднішній програмі ми будемо мати дещо про славного українського митця на Україні Микола Глущенка. Ми також будемо мати про українську бібліотеку в одному відділі американської бібліотеки. І буде кераміка і мистецькі вироби пані Ірини Твердохліб. І якщо місяця ми маємо наші славні українські танці і пісні, а цього разу від попису Євшан, який відбувся минулого тижня. І на просьбі багатьох наших глядачів ми будемо мати знову українську кухню і нашого відмінного і дуже веселого шефа Мирона Коваля.
That's right, Tamara. We're going to feature a segment from the Ukrainian kitchen, and you'll have a chance to learn all about vareniki.
І тепер закликаємо вас провести цю годину спільно з нами. На всі ваші спеціальні оказії зайдіть до одинокої української крамниці напитків в місті Рочестер, власники якої є панство Люба і Любомир Шміглі. В крамниці Люба Лико ви знайдете великий вибір різноманітних напитків з доступними цінами. Крамниця Люба Лико знаходиться при 701 Tyrus Avenue, Бівандикой. Телефон 266-3523.
In the jungle of rising costs, one investment remains the king as a safe hedge against inflation. The Oriental from Dervish Oriental Rugs. And now, Mr. Charles Zabo, president of Dervish Orientals, announces that a special selection of highest investment quality Oriental carpets have arrived for your private viewing. For an appointment, call Mr. Charles Zabo, investment broker and consultant in fine Orientals at Dervish, the Oriental Carpet Center on Monroe Avenue.
Цього року проведіть свої вакації над Атлантичним океаном в Myrtle Beach, South Carolina в мотелі Surf and Dunes, власником якого є Юрій Крижанівський. Мотель Surf and Dunes має дуже вигідні кімнати, 2 басейни, Whirlpool, теніс і гольф. Тож завідайте до Surf and Dunes при 2201 South Ocean Boulevard, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, або дзвоніть безплатно до них. За дальшими інформаціями телефон 1-800-845-2109. Завтра американський народ вшановує пам'ять усіх поляглих вояків американських, які віддали своє життя у різних війнах, у боях за свою державу. Український народ також вшановує пам'ять своїх полеглих героїв-борців, котрі протягом сотні поколінь віддали найбільший скарб своїй батьківщині – своє життя. Сьогодні Рочестерська громада вшанувала 60-ту річницю одного такого героя – славної пам'яті Симона Петлюри, голови директорії Української Народної Республіки і головного отамана українських військ під час визвольних змагань в 18-21 роках. Симон Петлюра був підступно вбитий у Парижі 60 років тому, 26 травня 1926 року. Світовий конгрес вільних українців СКВУ проголосив 86-й рік роком українського вояка. І в зв'язку із тим всі українські місцеві комбатантські організації і ветеранська організація американських вояків українського походження в місяці жовтні святкуватимуть цей рік.
Tamara, our program would also like to take a minute and talk about the nuclear disaster in Chernobyl, Ukraine.
26 квітня на Україні відбулася страшна катастрофа. Вибух нуклеарного реактора у Чорнобилі 60 миль від Києва. 28 квітня вістки про цю трагедію дійшли до Заходу, і місцева українська громада, яка є кров'ю і душею злучена з Україною, з тривогою очікувала вісті про стан рідні на Україні. 31 квітня у Страсний четвер в Українській православній церкві Святої Покрови відбулася служба Божа в намір жертв катастрофи. На службу Божу прийшли кореспонденти із усіх телевізійних станцій і місцевих часописів, котрі насвітлили і описали про переживання громади за долею своїх рідних на Україні. Одна із телевізійних станцій навіть уживала частину нашої програми на своїй передачі.
Ukraine made page one, but at what cost? What will become of Shevchenko's and every Ukrainian's Dnipro, Kyiv, the beautiful wheat farmland, and the irreplaceable treasures of Pecharska Larva, cradle of Ukrainian Christianity? As Saint Volodymyr stands gloriously overlooking the city, vile icons swirl about his head, menacing everything living and yet to live. The understatement of this calamity is that we will probably never know its extent, but it will become our duty to redouble our efforts not to let the world forget what Ukraine is enduring. We must carry the torch for our suffering kinfolk.
Протягом минулого тижня об'єднання підприємців Village Gate Square мали ряд імпрез, щоби обзнайомити місцеву громаду з Україною, з українцями. Весь дохід із цих імпрез є призначений на допомогову акцію українцям, які потерпіли у випадку у Чорнобилі. Якщо Совєтський Союз не прийме цю допомогову акцію, гроші на медицину і на харчі, всі ті гроші через УДАК будуть передані для українців, які живуть у нужді і у біді у Бразилії або у других країнах світу.
Last week, our local Ukrainian folk dancing ensemble, Yevshan, held a concert at Schroeder High School. What we're about to see are the youngest of our Ukrainian dancers performing the dance entitled We Are Ukrainians.
А тепер наші наймолодші танцюють нам «Ми українці».
know, Tamara, it's always a pleasure to see the little kids on stage and doing such a good job, and to see that, yes, indeed, we have a future in Ukrainian dancing here in Monroe County.
Remember when you were that small dancing?
No.
No? Now it's the next generation doing the same thing, and they're wonderful. А тепер наступний танець буде кокетка.
Rochester's own Melody Night Orchestra presents Records and Tapes.
Give the gift of music. Melody Night Volume 1 contains such favorites as Циганочко, На Майамі, По дорозі, Била мене мати, Мої ясени, Hey Ha, and Hore Hore. Melody Night 2 has such hits as Карпати, Карпати, Як я їхав, По садочку, Весільня пісня, Рушничок, Ой, чорна яси чорна, Летять качки. Melody Night 3 features Два кольори, За лісочком, Чотири рожі, Ой, Марішко, Ганю моя Ганю, Мудрий Соломон. Of course, there's Melody Night Volume 4 with hits like Ой, ти козаче, Чи справді, Бодайся когут, Рушив поїзд, Червона калина, Ой, у лісі два дуби, and last but not least, Коломейка. You can hear these songs and many, many more on Melody Night's 4 albums. Order your records or tapes today. Send $4.95 each or $18.95 for all 4 to Melody Night, P.O. Box 17205, Rochester, New York 14617. Order yours today. Купуйте!
За найкращою, сумнівною і веселою українською услугою при направі аут всіх виробів звертайтесь до Павла Прокопенка, власника гаража Paul's Mobile Service при 1196 Portland Avenue. Телефон 266-8053.
In our last month's show, we presented a brief overview of graphic art in Ukraine. Today, we would like to feature a painter who was especially popular in Ukraine for the past 60 years, Mykola Hlushchenko.
Понад 60 років Микола Глущенко – один із видатніших митців, художників України, сповнював багато варіантів вирішення споконвічної теми мистецтва – природа і людина.
Mykola Hlushchenko was born in 1901 and grew up in the Ukrainian village of Borisivka. There he experienced the excitement of a would-be artist while watching icon painters.
Його перший твір – це автопортрет, виконаний на дерев'яній дошці в стилі епохи відродження Ренесанс. Спокоєм віє від м'яких коричнево-пастельних тонів. Лиш допитливий погляд визначає вік митця, пору його палких мрій і сподівань.
In the early 1920s, he founded himself in Germany. There he studied at the Berlin Academy, and as an advocate of realism, he attempted to convey the innermost motives of his soul, the image of man, and the external, eternal theme of feminine beauty.
На першу виставку Глущенка у 24-му році в Берліні критика відмічила високу культуру і технічну досконалість його портретів, які показували значний талант з великим інтелектуальним естетичним комплексом.
In 1925, Hlushchenko moved to Paris, and until 1936, he worked and held one-man shows in Paris, Berlin, Milan, Stockholm, Rome, and the United States.
В 1936 році Микола Глущенко повернувся на батьківщину після майже 20-літнього перебування в Західній Європі, де відновляє свою творчість поїздкою до шевченківських міст на Донбас, Крим. У 1944 році він переїхав до Києва, де особливо милою і дорогою серцю художника стає рідна природа. Своїми пейзажами він оспівував натхненно з ніжною синівською любов'ю.
In the 60s, Hlushchenko's artistic expression took on a new form. A marked decorativeness in his paintings and a fondness of decorative folk art was exhibited. His works combined fantasy and reality. He excelled in many areas, making a series of drawings in colored felt point pens, pastels, monotypes, water, color, as well as oils.
Микола Глущенко помер у Києві в жовтні 77-го року. В Київському архівному музеї літератури і мистецтва відтворено 2 кімнати із його студії. На мольберті стоїть останній пейзаж Глущенка, а біля нього пензлі, якими він останній раз енергічними ударами творив образи свого почуття, своїх думок, емоцій і бездоганного знання натури і природи.
You know, Tamara, I had an opportunity to interview a Ukrainian artist here locally in Rochester. The person was Irina Tverdokhlib. Fascinating interview, fascinating forms of artwork. She was born in Lviv, Ukraine. She's a current resident of Rochester, New York area, and I think what we're about to see will be fascinating as far as some of the artwork that she is involved in.
It should be a very interesting topic. And now, Bill's interview.
It might appear to you, our viewers, that we are at a museum, an art museum, but that is not correct. We are in Aranaquoit, New York, here at home, the home of Mrs. Irene Tverdokhlib, our local Ukrainian artist. Welcome to Ukrainian Magazine, Irene, and вітаємо вас на український журнал.
Дякую.
Пані Твердохліб, чи ви можете нам розказати, як ви приїхали до Америки, яка була ваша перша картина?
Коли я приїхала до Америки, і я поглянула на життя американського народу і інших народів, які живуть у тій вільній країні, в такій великій свободі, де можна думати і творити, і мені прийшла ідея створити картину «Два світи». Це значить свобода і комунізм. Комунізм, де я представляю народи, які є поневолені Совєтським Союзом і які звертаються до Заходу, до Америки спеціально, о допомогу. Це моя була перша ідея створити отаку картину.
As a Ukrainian-American artist, Mrs. Tverdokhlib, you did a lot of symbolic Ukrainian paintings. Can you explain some of the paintings that you have done in the past years?
Цю картину я створила також українську мати, хресна дорога української матері. Щоб представити українську мати, яка під Совєтським Союзом терпить, виховуючи своїх малих дітей, не знаючи їхньої долі. Діти підростають, маючи почування глибоке до свого народу, починають їх переслідувати. Так як, приміром, на долині їхній батько, як символ в'язня. І мати журиться їхньою долею, бо думає, що доля їхніх дітей, її дітей буде та сама, що і батька.
Mrs. Tverdokhlib, how about the painting there about Vinnytsia? Can you explain that one to us?
Vinnytsia, this happened during 1937-38 when Soviet Union occupied our country and Stalin arrested mostly the villages people, decent education people, and the people disappear. The family never know what happened. They was looking in the jail in Siberian, but they could not find this family. And they don't know what happened the family, but the Stalin decided, destroyed, killed the people, and the people made grave.
A big grave, a massive grave, as your portrait shows.
And during 1940 years, when the Germany occupied our country, and this grave discovered, and then discovered over 10,000 people.
10,000 people buried in a mass grave.
Yes, and they plant and make it park for children for enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody know about that. What under this park, these beautiful trees, is big gravy,
A
Ukrainian
massive grave of Ukrainian
people,
martyrs and people that died.
yes.
Mrs. Tverdokhlib, another painting that I see here, it's our city of Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. But it's a very symbolic picture. Can you tell us a little bit about the symbolic meaning?
This one, this one?
Yes.
Oh, this is Ukrainian today. I compose the Moscow like jail, the concentration camp, and in up this is symbol Siberian and Ukrainian dissident. What today they are in Siberian, and Lare dissident today the Moscow Kiev like Alahorska, Ivashuk, just because they have very deep feeling to Ukrainian nation, to our nation.
About ceramics, you talked about an oven.
Ceramics, I like ceramics. Why I take it ceramics? When I came to America, and when I take it silk screen, then I saw how in ceramics faculty, so many colors, and technique was very high discovered. And then I like to take ceramics and use the so rich colors and compose Ukrainian ornaments, Ukrainian composition make.
And
with using the so rich, so many colors.
And now we try to cover a lot of the Ukrainian artistic crafts. Is there anything that I missed that you do that a person with your talents and God-given talents, I've noticed that we have
my
pillows.
My mother, when I was small child, my mother taught me that.
Embroidering.
Yes.
And you do that
yes.
also.
Yes, from a small child I did, like Ukrainian Easter eggs, the same. I was small child when I did always when came Easter holiday.
Your house is really a museum of Ukrainian beauty. You seem to have spent your whole life dedicated to preserving and enriching Ukrainian culture and art. Would you like to comment on that?
I never lose time. I always try to do something. Then
and it's obvious that you're enjoying it very much.
Yes, I enjoy by art, and I always try to all time to spend. This, I have family, 2 children, and I was working. But anyway, during when I had a little bit time, I try just spend by the art.
Why did you really concentrate on just doing Ukrainian? Do you feel you had to, or did you?
Yes, because I am Ukrainian, and I try to produce Ukrainian, because from Ukrainian today you can nothing to get.
Suppressed, they're saying.
Yes, and I try to produce here the all Ukrainian mostly. But the same, my painting, this is Lare from Rochester countries around the parks.
We noticed that the Highland Park is celebrating the Lilac Festival, and you have a painting of
yes, Lilac Park. I have 2 pictures, Lilac Parks.
Mrs. Tverdokhlib, we've only touched a little bit of the vast, enormous, beautiful paintings and art craft that you have generated over the many years. We would like to probably come back and share a lot more with our viewers, because this is absolutely gorgeous and fascinating in how you painted, you made, and you artistically created the Ukrainian art form here in Rochester. And I think the Ukrainian community should be very proud of your efforts.
Thank you very much.
And your hard work. And again, on behalf of Ukrainian Magazine and the Ukrainian community, we would like to thank you for being an active part in your art form.
Oh, thank you very much. Would you please comment some other times? Then I can demonstrate some technique for you, how I do.
Дуже дякуємо, пані Твердохліб.
Прошу дуже. Дуже дякую також, що ви до нас загостили.
Василю, пані Твердохліб справді має великий і цікавий і різноманітний збір своєї праці, кераміки і мистецтва.
Так, and I hope that we can revisit her museum and her treasure of art.
А тепер будемо мати малих бандуристів із концерту «Йовшан», які приїхали до нас у гості з Баффало.
Власники похоронного заведення Павла Герреса щиро дякують усім родинам української громади міста Рочестер, котрим протягом 40 років вони сумлінно служили в годині смутку по втраті дорогої їм особи. Власники похоронного заведення запрошують всіх порівняти їхнє приміщення, щиру обслугу і ціни до других. У час потреби або за передвчасною порадою звертайтесь до українського погребника Павла Геррес. The Rochester Ukrainian Federal Credit Union now offers its members a new and beneficial service, share drafts, credit union checking accounts. With credit union share drafts, there is no monthly service charge, you earn dividends, there is no minimum balance, you get instant carbonless copies with each draft you write, and monthly statements detailing all your transactions. Qualified members receive a special overdraft and direct deposit privilege. Credit union share drafts are a great leap beyond ordinary checking.
The next time you're in Florida, visit the Quality Inn of Lakeland. Located off Interstate 4 at exit 18, Quality Inn is only minutes away from Disney World, Epcot, Cypress Gardens, SeaWorld, or Busch Gardens. We have a full-service restaurant featuring quality food at low family prices. For more information, contact owner-manager Zenon Godan. Call toll-free 1-800-237-4699. For your next Florida vacation, it's the Quality Inn, Lakeland, Florida.
Як я казала на початку нашої програми, ми маємо сьогодні із нами нашого веселого і відмінного шефа Мирона Коваля, котрий нам сьогодні покаже, як робити українські вареники. Вітаю, Мироне!
Приємно.
And now by popular demand, as fantastic showing the first time, we have Miron Koval, our Ukrainian chef, to introduce to us this evening's kitchen segment.
Today we're going to make vareniki.
Pirohe?
No. Vareniki. There's a big difference. There's pierogis, there's yonkis, there's all kinds of things, but today we're going to make vareniki. Vareniki, you vareni. Right?
Okay, can you fry them?
Right.
No. We're going to make these things very nice, very easy, and I'm going to start right now. Here we go.
Okay, what are the basic ingredients?
First of all, we start with 5 cups of butter. Butter.
that's flour.
It's flour.
Okay.
We've got butter over there. 5 cups of flour. Okay. And about a teaspoon and maybe a half of salt.
Pinch of this and a pinch of that.
Pinch of this and pinch of that. Now, we're going to mix eggs. Here we go. Now, we don't want to use...
Watch out, tomato for the knife.
With a big knife, huh?
We want to just take the yolks, no whites, and get practice with that. I'm going to dump that there. 100 gram. Does everyone understand?
It's
about a shot.
Very, very...
A shot of oil that will dump right over the top over
Why?
here.
Why?
And why? It just makes the dough a lot more easy to work with when we're going to knead it. Okay? And now, about 2.5 cups of water. We'll run it in here, and we're going to make the dough.
Can you use milk instead of water?
Some people like to use milk. I happen to think that milk makes it a little bit heavy. Milk is good because it's got a lot of nutrition and so on, but it's really not necessary. This makes it nice and light, just plain water, salt. Now, we've got the dough mixed. We've mixed it, kneaded very well. It's important that you knead the dough very well and maybe even let it sit a little while, okay? Now, you've got flour on the table, and you're going to knock it out here a little bit, all the way out.
Like making pizza.
Okay, yeah, it's like making pizza, but we're not Italians, we're Ukrainians. We're going to make vareniki here, okay? Put on the rolling pin here, raz dva, so it doesn't stick. Make sure you got nice and... This is not, by the way, rolling pin. A lot of husbands have known this.
On the wrong end of it.
That's right. But we'll go ahead and we'll roll this out nice and thin, okay? When you knead the dough, make sure that you've kneaded it, and then the dough starts to come away from your fingers. When it starts there, just stop, and then you're ready to roll it out, okay? Okay, Bill, we've already rolled out our dough, our quisto, very nice. I'm going to give you the opportunity right now. We're going to saute the onions. They've been diced very nice, very thinly. And we're going to go in about, 3 sticks of butter, almost a pound, 3/4 of a pound of butter.
This is the
that we've got in there.
This is the sauce that usually makes the vareniki.
No, we're going to use some of it in the vareniki and some of it on the vareniki. So, in order to save some time, we're just going to saute these things and let them cook up very nice. This is the important part, the filling. All right, we've got potatoes in here. Now, what I've done with the potatoes is just boiled and mashed potatoes as anyone would do. Right now, there's about 4 or 5 pounds of potatoes that I've mashed in here, and about a pound of cheddar cheese. I like the cheddar cheese. People change their ideas.
Cheese.
Yeah, there are other ideas that you can put into vareniki. We have fruit, and we will do that in a minute too.
I noticed that you have the cheddar cheese, but I know in Eastern Ukraine usually they don't put cheese in there,
No.
right? Right.
Well,
So
there are.
basically
You can go with basic potatoes, and what we're doing there is sautéing onions and in butter, and that could be mixed up. There's a whole lot of people that like it with kapusta and cottage cheese or farmer's cheese.
Yeah, I lubię
The filling, yes, kapusta, yoo-hoo. All right, what we're going to do right now is we're going to start cutting the dough here.
Do you have to use a wine glass all the time to cut?
Only if you drank all the wine. That's all. But we'll start
Empty
here.
wine glass.
Now try not to. I'm going to go here, Ras. Make sure you've got this covered nice with some flour over here, so
Can
it
I
won't
try
stick
it?
to the table.
Can I try it?
Vareniki are not easy. Do it, please.
Okay,
We're
let's
just
see.
going to leave them out there.
See if this probably.
Sure.
See, but see, look how much you wasted. Don't
can't
do
waste
that.
any of
No,
that?
don't waste it. The dough is important, but don't worry about it. You won't waste it. You'll roll it up again and roll it out. Once this has all been cut through,
You just pick it up anyway?
pick it up and put it down.
Мироне, ти нам показав вже, як місити тісто, як викачувати тісто і вирізувати тісто. А тепер що ми робимо з тими маленькими вареничками?
Остатній крок, last step, right here. We might have to tісто, but real nice, take it out, let them go out a little bit so you can feel it that they have, and take a spoonful.
Okay. A lot,
And you have to do just a spoonful, about a teaspoonful, a tablespoonful.
Василю, а ти також?
Василь,
До
come on.
роботи, до
Miro, this
роботи.
reminds
Come
me
on, то перший раз, що ти то робиш?
the same, Miro, the same work process as the holubchi. that we
It's
did,
a
huh?
holubchi.
Remember?
Right in the middle there.
Right in the middle.
And then right in half. And nice, just squeeze them.
Licking with your fingers.
That's the way I do it at home, but okay.
Is that the way?
Now we want to
You
make,
have to be careful so that you don't get the filling in there, right?
don't get the filling in between the pieces of dough, because if you do that, they'll come apart, of course.
Yeah, these look just
so
like
what we'll do, we'll put them out there just like that. We'll keep on going.
I know some ladies make little loops like this so they look decorative.
Wow, that's nice too, but when you put them in the water, the decorations kind of go away. And that's what happens next.
Малко, ну тепер ми маємо вареники. What's next?
What's next? Тепер ми маємо тут nice hot water. It's boiling with about 3 tablespoons of nice oil in there, and we've got that, and we'll put them in one at a time. Well, here we go, the final product right here. We've got nice vareniki with sauteed onions in butter, and that's the traditional way to eat them. And Tamara and Vasil, we're going to try them. If you give me your plates, we can put one here.
They look
That one's
delicious.
Щиро дякую тобі, Мироне, що ти був нашим гостем на нашій програмі і нам показав, як так гарно вареники робити, які дуже смакують.
Miro, very authentic and very great tasting.
Well,
Excellent job.
I'm not going to say so until I taste one myself. How do we go? That's what Chef Skazal said. Delicious.
А тепер, поки ми скінчимо їсти наші вареники, ми запрошуємо вас подивитися на наших дівчаток, як співають пісню «Їхав козак на війноньку» із концерту «Євшан», який відбувся минулої неділі.
know, Tamara, it's always refreshing to see beautiful girls on stage performing
Yes.
at their best.
And one of those beautiful girls is my daughter, I'm proud to say.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Our next segment is a segment about libraries. We all know that in Rochester we have a Ukrainian library at the Civic Center. But I bet you many of us out there don't know that there is a section, a Ukrainian section, locally at one of the public libraries here in Rochester. Ukrainian Magazine had the opportunity to go to Pulaski Library and interview the adult education librarian, Dorothy Gullen, with the Ukrainian library section. Right now, we'd like to welcome our next guest on Ukrainian Magazine, Dorothy Gullen, the librarian of adult services, located here on Pulaski Community Library on Hudson and Norton Street here in Rochester, New York. Hello, Dorothy.
Hello, Bill. How are you today?
Great, great. And excited to find out that Pulaski Community Library has a section on Ukrainian books. Would you care to comment a little bit about that?
All right. We've had Ukrainian books here for many, many years, and we have always had a small core collection of Ukrainian books. However, in the last few years, since it's apparent that many immigrants have been coming from different countries, the city thought it would be a good idea to give us extra funds to expand our foreign language collections. So within the last couple years, Pulaski Library has received $2,000 to expand its Ukrainian collection.
It's fantastic. And did we order new books?
That's right. We ordered, as I say, about $2,000 worth of books, not only in Ukrainian, but in English. Now, I got this idea because people in the Ukrainian American community that I spoke to suggested that not everyone who is Ukrainian American is still fluent in Ukrainian, but still there are people who are interested in topics that would be of interest to Ukrainian Americans. So we got some materials similar to what we got in Ukrainian in English, and also the lady who was the teacher of Ukrainian at St. Joseph's School at the time suggested that it would be very helpful to her and her pupils if we would order some children's books in Ukrainian. It would help them to get more experience in their language and be entertaining to them as well. Starting with the adult books, this is just a sample, but we have a dissident work called Memoirs of an Unteachable Man by Vasil Prokoda. We have some other of that nature still on order. We have received several very attractive fairy tale books, such as this one. And I'm not
Ukrainian folk stories.
Thank you, because I do not speak Ukrainian, and I really must tell you about the people that helped me choose these a little bit later. And we are now subscribing to Svoboda, the Ukrainian daily newspaper. This is the May 1st issue on the Chernobyl disaster. Down among the English books, we have a sample of another book of folk tales, Down Singing Centuries. It's translated by Florence Randall Livesey. This is a book for all ages, not just for children, and it has some very beautiful illustrations.
Gorgeous colors.
As you can see. People who maybe are not Ukrainian might be interested in some Ukrainian cultural things, such as this book on Ukrainian embroidery. And everyone seems to be interested in Pysanky. We have a very nice book on how to do Ukrainian Easter eggs.
You mentioned, Dorothy, earlier that someone also helps you because of the language barriers to help you catalog these. Would you like to comment on that?
That's right. I really feel I should do that. As you can probably tell, I am not Ukrainian and I don't know the language or the literature. So I thought in order to make a proper selection of books, I really should consult Ukrainian Americans in the community. And we have had two wonderful patrons who have given us a great deal of help with this. Particularly Mr. George Stanichuk, who has helped us locate publishers and distributors. And he has done most of the transliterating from Cyrillic into English alphabet and translated the titles into English so they could be cataloged. And also Mr. Petro Kosenko. Now he donated some books from a local author, Anatol Halan, and also did some transliterating and translating for us. And he tells me that recently he's been busy out in the community publicizing our collection.
Dorothy, on behalf of Ukrainian Magazine, we want to thank you very much for sharing with us your information on the many books the Pulaski Community Library has bought and is trying to introduce and make available to our community. And we extend our wishes that you, the viewers, take the opportunity to come down to Pulaski Library and share in this knowledge of Ukrainian culture, history, and through the books. And again, we thank you, Dorothy, for being our guest.
Thank you, Bill.
Well, Tamara, we've come to an end of another show of Ukrainian Magazine. Time flies
when you're having fun.
Very quickly. And as far as our community bulletin board for this month, we'd like to announce a couple of dances that are coming up, and we invite our public to come and support and have a good time at a Ukrainian Zabava. The first one is May 31st, Saturday, at St. Mary's Ukrainian Orthodox Church on St. Paul Boulevard. They're having a Zabava for the building fund of the new Ukrainian home in Webster. The organization, Ukrainian American Youth Association, is sponsoring that, and we invite all of you again to come down Saturday, the 31st of May, at St. Mary's Ukrainian Church Hall. Also, on June 7th, we invite all of you to come down to St. Josephat's School Hall Auditorium for the St. Josephat's Parents Club Zabava, where they'll have refreshments and a band and a good time.
А перед закінченням нашої програми ми хочемо пригадати вам, що в місті Рочестері завжди відбуваються цікаві події. Завтра заходом місцевого відділу українців в обороні людських прав на Україні відбудеться промова Леоніда Плюща о 7 годині вечора в залі Церкви Святої Покрови. Рівно ж пригадуємо усім студентам High School, що ви можете дістати 3 кредити Regents Credits з української мови. Всі ті, що вміють читати, писати і говорити по-українському, прошу зголоситися до ваших директорів вашої школи, і що ви хочете ті іспити брати. І ці іспити будуть дані у Penfield High School панією Надією Трач. Також студенти університетів, які хочуть вчитися в українській літній школі при Гарварді, можуть записатися найпізніше до цього тижня на ті курси. Всі курси є безплатні, студенти тільки мусять оплатити собі приміщення і харчування протягом 6 тижнів.
Also, Tamara, a reminder to our students out there who have completed at least 1 year of college and who are studying music to apply for the Volodymyr Ivashuk Scholarship Fund. The funding is becoming available to qualified people. Send your applications and also your donations to the above address on the screen.
На закінчення ми дякуємо всім нашим жертводавцям, котрі підтримували нас протягом цього року. І ми закликаємо всіх тих, котрі ще не помогли нам, прошу поможіть нам, щоб ми могли надалі продовжувати нашу програму.
In closing, we want to thank all our sponsors and all our donors who have made this Ukrainian Magazine broadcasting possible. We ask you to support our sponsors, and we also ask all of you out there who have not yet supported us to kindly send in your tax-deductible donations to Ukrainian Magazine so we may continue this fine Ukrainian American broadcasting. And in ending, Tamara,
ми запрошуємо вас з нами бути знову на другий місяць, 29 червня.
Stay tuned for our next show, June 29th, again at 7 o'clock. And until then, добраніч.
На добраніч and good night.